Going on, everyone? So by now, I'm sure you all heard the reports that Atlanta Hawks head coach Nate McMillan and Trae Young exchanged words at a shoot-around, which led to Trae's absence at the team's game against the Denver Nuggets on Friday. And this has turned into an absolute whirlwind, right? Absolute dumpster fire and just firestorm. Trae has to answer all these questions. The media is really pressuring him. He's like, look, this is private. He's upset because a private conversation now turned into a big thing. And now the media is involved. And now he kind of feels like he was, jaded. Like, hey, like these people just threw me under the bus. This is supposed to be my franchise. I'm supposed to be the franchise guy. This, that, and the other. The Atlanta Hawks are really struggling this year. They're not looking good. They're not really working it out. They're trying to trade John Collins. They can't really shoot this year, which is really weird because they actually have a bunch of guys that are like known to be good shooters, especially Trae Young. But for whatever reason, they have just had struggles shooting the ball. Can't really stop anybody. Can't play defense. They lost again. I wanted to wait to see how they were going to play against OKC before I made this video. That's why I didn't make it sooner, like when this was like huge news. But that OKC game, again, like this team is just in just disarray right now. It's not working. The Jamal Murray thing, he's great, but it's clunky. It's just Atlanta's not going anywhere. And I think one of the worst things that happened to Atlanta was them making that Western Conference because the Eastern Conference, them making the Eastern Conference Finals, I think made them believe that they were better than they are. And it made them believe like, oh, we're only a piece or two away. And then you had DeJounte Murray become available. And DeJounte's like, this up-and-coming young star point guard. But you have Trae Young. And it's like, what? But, Trae Young could shoot. And it was like, that's the missing piece. Like, this is what we need. Kind of like Minnesota. Except for, they went the big approach rather than the small approach. And it's just clunky. It doesn't work. You basically took your advantage and neutralized it, right? And that's something that I see Atlanta really struggling with right now. And like DeJounte and Trae, maybe they could work it out. Maybe they just need a little more time. Maybe they could turn it around. But you just keep seeing this turmoil. And this is a team that looks like they're reaching their boiling point. And now Trae doesn't really trust his coach. He's kind of, iffy on the coach, him and his coach. Now your franchise guy, he's not showing up to practice. Now, whatever reason that is, still like, you're not showing up to practices, you're not showing up to games, you're leaving shoot-arounds. Like, dude, you're supposed to show up. You just didn't show up. Just DNP, like, for what, And that's the thing. And, like, there was the whole interview. I don't know if you saw the interview with the reporters and Trae Young, and the reporter just keeps pressing. And Trae's like, dude, like, and like, even I was getting annoyed watching that. Like, okay, like, we get it. You want the tea, but go ask somebody else. Like, stop asking the same question over and over again. Like, you got your answer. Like, you don't know all the details behind the scenes, which you don't. And it's none of your business what's going on behind the scenes, right? And that was Trae's point. Like, it's nobody's business what is going on in our shoot-arounds or, in our locker room or whatever. It's our business. If me and the coach have a falling out, that's for me and the coach to figure out and decide. And I'm not saying that like Nate McMillan is going to get fired or Trae Young's going to want to be traded or anything like that. But this is usually the beginning stages to a collapse, right? This is the kind of stuff you see. Team isn't doing very good. You have your star player who's not having a great year. Now he's kind of looking at the organization sideways. Like I can't trust any of these people. Like blah blah. And now it's just this unnecessary drama. He's getting asked by the media, he's getting pressed by the media. They're losing games. They continue to lose games. There's a lot of questions about consistency and just shooting and just like the team in general. Now the coach, him and the coach are kind of at odds. And it's like, I don't know, I like him. So this is something that could be very interesting with Atlanta. This is something where we could easily see Atlanta start just having fire sales and firing coaches and just trying to hit the reset button. Look, the coach is always the first one to go, right? And if they don't continue to win and they're struggling this year and like say they make the play in or something, or they're like a first round exit or something, I would not be shocked at all if Nate McMillan is gone at the end of this season, especially with Trae Young, because now you're not going to have Trae defending you. You're not going to have any of that stuff. I could see Atlanta just wanting to clean house, right? Because Atlanta wants to win, and you got to respect it, right? Same thing with Minnesota. Although that trade didn't make sense, right? Like with the whole Minnesota thing, like no, I don't think there was a single person that was like, man, that was the move. Man, Minnesota, they made the move. That Rudy Gobert, like that's the player they need to be a champion. Like, let's neutralize our two superstars that we have, and Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. Let's just basically take away what makes them great. I'll never understand that. But Atlanta's made a little more sense. It was still a little like, really, DeJounte Murray? Like, like DeJounte is great. Don't get me wrong. But like him and Trae, how is that going to work? They're going to be small. They're not really going to be able to stop anybody, right? Like this might not work very well. And it hasn't. I mean, it hasn't been Minnesota bad, but it's been pretty bad, and it's just, and I don't see this getting fixed. So now what do you do if you're Atlanta? Do you trade Murray? Do you, obviously they're trying to trade John Collins, but they've been trying to trade Collins for the last 3 years, right? Like he's been in trade rumors since he basically was drafted. And so it's like, what do you do? Do you unload, start, selling the farm and kind of retooling around, Trae Young? Do you trade Trae Young and have DeJounte Murray and everybody and kind of see if maybe hey, because you could probably get a lot for Trae Young. And honestly, I don't think Trae Young's that good to where, you have to keep him. I really don't. I think Atlanta, I think you can make an argument Atlanta would be better the way it's constructed with just Murray and Trae Young and go get some pieces. I really do. Maybe I'll even talk about that more in a specific video, because I do. And I'm sure that there's many people that disagree, but I'm talking about the team, the way the team is currently constructed. I think that the team, the way it's constructed right now, DeJounte Murray fits this team so much better than Trae Young. And the size and all that, many reasons. Like I said, maybe I'll dive into that specifically in another video, because I do think that that's a good topic of conversation. But when it comes to Atlanta, I don't see a fix. I don't see them working out this issue. And they underperformed last year, although there were a lot of injuries and stuff like that. But this year, again, it just looks clunky. It doesn't look good. You see the turmoil with the coach. They're not winning games. They're losing to bad teams. This is supposed to be a team that's supposed to be a contender this year, that was supposed to be in the upper echelons of the Eastern Conference and Eastern Conference teams, and supposed to be competing for championships and all that stuff. And DeJounte Murray comes to the Hawks, and it's this is the piece. This is it. You see all the photos, you see all the hype, you see all the excitement, all that stuff. They're playing in the Drew League and stuff, or the Pro-Am together, and they're, having great summers and stuff, and they're just dominating and balling, and it's just looking good and all that stuff. And then you get to the NBA and you realize the NBA is a different beast. And it's all right, it's not really working. It's not working the way that we had hoped. It's not working the way that we had envisioned this going. And it's just, I think one of these two are gone. I do. I think it's going to be the coach. I don't think Atlanta would trade Trae Young, but I think you could make a legitimate argument. And, Nate McMillan, I don't I think that this is a huge stain, this whole incident and this whole mess and just everything. I think it's a real stain on the organization right now. Trae Young, he doesn't feel like he can trust people within the organization now, which I don't blame him. I wouldn't either, right? I mean, dude, it was, even if it was a serious argument, right? Maybe it was something, maybe it was nothing. People have disagreements, right? Maybe Trae felt one way. I don't agree with him not showing up and playing and being a part of your team, and I understand why the reporters were trying to press it, and trying to get the point across, you're supposed to be the leader. I do understand that. I just think it's the way that they approach it. You know what I mean? It's but I don't agree with Trae Young just taking the night off because he got in a fight with his coach. Boo-hoo. You still have a job to do. You still have your teammates that you don't want to disappoint. You want to show up. And I mean, he played for OKC, not OKC. He played against OKC. But still, you missed the game that you should have been to, that you should have represented and been a part of. And like, I get it, you were upset, you were mad, you probably didn't want to look at your coach that night, but you're still a professional, you're still a grown man that's got to do a job and being paid insane amount of money to go do that, to go shoot the basketball, and your team's struggling. Like, that was an opportunity to go, hey, even with me and the coach having a falling out, like, I'm here, like, we're gonna do this, let's go fight and get that win, and just show, like, hey, look, and look, we don't know all the ins and outs, we don't know what was said, what was done. I'm sure the organization themselves has looked into it and had the conversations and all that stuff, or I hope they would. Atlanta's a team and an organization that wants to win. And they got to the Eastern Conference Finals, which I think was, a lot of bit of luck. But, hey, kudos to them. They were able to do it. And I just think that was the worst thing that could happen to them. Because I think they believed, we're there. We're this team. And they're really not. And they went to go make a play. Although to be fair, they got DeJounte Murray for peanuts. So even if they did flip DeJounte Murray, it's not like you gave up. You're not talking about the Rudy Gobert trade, right? You're not talking about giving up 4 players, 4 draft picks, all that stuff, like unprotected firsts and all. Like, they gave up peanuts to go get DeJounte Murray. Like, that was like a good move for them. So I don't think it hurts, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Atlanta. I mean, keep an eye on Atlanta. Atlanta might be having a fire sale real soon. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. What do you think? Do you think that this is a bad sign? Do you think it's nothing? Do you think it's something? What did you think of, Trae Young's comments? Do you think that this is a team that's imploding? Do you think this is a team that, they'll be all right? However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comment section below.